First of all, my short introduction. I'm a Microsoft certified professional, and I have MCSA BI reporting certification as well. And I'm associated with Treehouse Consultancy. And for those who are joining a bit late, actually this session is being recorded, so I'll share its recording with you as well. And you can follow my blog EZPower BI, and you can also visit my YouTube channel EZPower BI with the same name. So this session is basically about tooltips, because all of us who are actually either associated with for example, Tableau or other Click and other platform, they are also using tooltips as well. But my focus is mostly towards Power BI side. So this will be basically related to some options which you can follow in your reports to enhance the user experience, like how your reports can be enhanced further. So to start with, actually, I have just made this Power BI file for all of you, and probably I'll share this with you. Now, if you see this example over here, there are multiple ways in which I have demonstrated like how your tooltip can be used. Like one thing which is very common, you can use the default tooltips of Power BI, because this comes out of the box. So if I go over here and I put my mouse on top of it, so definitely it's going to show me like what facts and dimensions I have used in this particular chart. So that will be visible automatically. I don't have to do anything for it. But in the next example, which I'm showing right now, so you can see that I have added like from and to, like from which year to which year this particular tooltip is appearing. So as you know that Power BI allows you to add additional, you can say, fields. So if you'll see over here, in the properties, if I click on this one, you can see that in the tooltip I have inserted the date or year field, but I have used minimum for first one and maximum for second one. So this is actually showing like within my range, which is the minimum one, which is 2016, and the maximum one is 2018. So in this way, you can show in this scenario, like in certain cases you want to show like from and to a kind of a range with your tooltip. So in Power BI, what you can do, like selecting your particular chart or visual, and inside tooltip you can drag and drop those particular field. And in this case, I have dragged the same field, but I have applied minimum and maximum in two different ways, and I have renamed it over here. So this is actually a kind of a simple example, but definitely this example is not ideal, because in this case it's okay, like you have not selected anything. But if I have selected 2016 and 2018, this becomes irrelevant. Like if I'm selecting two different years and 2017 is not selected, in this case this becomes irrelevant. Like it's just not saying or not giving me a correct impression like it's from 2016 to 2018, because in fact 2017 is missing. So in this case, what I did in this example, like over here, I have added a custom field over here in which it is saying the selected years. Like over here, it is showing me like selected years are 2016 and 2018. So in these scenarios, when you are using a kind of different random selections, in that case, like, okay, if I'm doing like instead of 2016, I'm selecting 2017 only. So if I come over here, so the selected year is showing 2017 only. So it is actually changing based on the scenario which I have selected. So this selected year is coming like 2016, 2017, and 2018. So what I'm doing over here, like if you see in this, I have this selected years measure which I have created over here. So if you'll see in this code, like I'm finding out like how many selected years are there, and then I'm actually concatenating those together. And this is actually the way I'm using it, like in ascending order. I'm concatenating all those selected years over here. So first I have, because this value is always going to get the distinct years. So those distinct years, once they are grabbed, you can concatenate those, which is available in the form of array or table, and then you can incorporate that over here in your tooltip, and now it is showing you like exactly what is selected, because sometimes once you are analyzing it, you are not sure that what is selected. So in this case, when you are applying this, so whenever you are doing random selections, like just I've shown you, like if you are selecting 2016 and 2018, now in this case this tooltip becomes relevant. Like over here it is showing you selected years which are which the selection you have made over here. Another example is over here. I'm using the same from and to, but in this I have added additional field like this, because I'm on the product car. I can include that product icon if I have incorporated it in the form of unique characters. So in that case, if you want to apply a symbol or something. And secondly, which you have noticed that in Power BI, you have the capability of applying branding to your tooltip. Like if you are not applying any branding over here, and it is coming by default like this, but over here, what I did, like I've applied some branding. So in tooltip, what I did, like over here, I've applied the background color and other branding which you can use over here. So over here, this tooltip, no, sorry, over here in the tooltip side, the kind of branding which I'm using over here. So this label color, value color, and any background color which I'm applying, this will be visible over here. So the same color which you can see over here, it is actually showing me all these settings which I have applied. So in case you want to apply some branding on these particular visuals, you can do it like this. So these are something which you can say most of the time you are depending on out of the box features of Power BI, and still you can do a lot, and you can add some value in your reports by using out of the box tooltips. But few things you have noticed, like normally you are using very generic sort of tooltips, but you can add additional fields and you can implement these kind of use cases. And it's not necessary, like I have given you example of years, but this can be for different reasons as well. You are selecting different departments, so you have to show that, okay, this particular report or visual is only concentrating on these selected departments. So anybody who is viewing these reports, they can be sure that what exactly these figures are. They are not surprised like why these are coming low or high. So in this case, they can simply refer to it. But on the right side, these visuals which I have used, I'm using custom tooltips. So in custom tooltips, if you can see that over here, I have applied a custom tooltip in which it is not following the default structure. It is following my own designed tooltip. So this particular tooltip, I have arranged it like, if I can see that these much cars were sold. So what is the breakup in terms of years, like whether we are making progress for car, whether we are making progress for vans or pickup. So these kind of things you can incorporate with custom tooltip. So whenever you are using custom tooltip, you have to add a page basically, and I'll just show you how you can add it. Like for example, over here in Power BI, you can add a page, and in the page information, you can change it to tooltip. Now, one thing which is very important, like just by changing tooltip, nobody will be interested in showing tooltip as a whole page. Definitely you want tooltip to be in a normal tooltip size, so you have to change page size as well. Now I've noticed that those who are doing it for the first time, they forget to do it. Either they change size and they forget to change the page information, and that tooltips are not working. So, but over here, what is the best practice? Like after changing the page information, you can change the page size, and the best practice is like you should use the tooltip size which is available over here. And once that tooltip size comes over here, then you can apply your controls on top of it. So in this particular example, I have used the same size. If you'll see in this particular example, I have used the same default size of tooltip, and I have arranged this information in, you can say, a very organized manner. So whoever is doing a kind of a mouse over on this particular visual and these particular elements, so they can see that exactly what is the situation of this particular product. In our case, like these vehicles, I've selected for this particular example. So in this case, it is giving you a very clean tooltip, which is a custom tooltip, which is giving you additional detail along with this particular chart. So another example is applying animation to it. Now over here, what I did, like sometime you want to see some kind of animation, like whenever you are using a tooltip and you want to tell a story step by step to someone, like it's not just a flat information. You want somebody to go through a journey, a kind of a journey, like, okay, what happened in 2016 and what happened in 2017 and 2018. So in this case, you can implement quite easily. You can implement animation. And if you want to see like how this animation was done, like this is the same report which tooltip which I am using it, and the animation is there. The only thing which is not visible over here, like if you see on the view part and in this selection part, you can see that over here I have used the play axis, but because I have kept it behind other visuals, so that play axis is not visible. But applying this play axis is actually making this animation work. So you can explore like how this play axis works, because this session is not related to play axis, but just as a tip, I'm informing you, like within this page, I have incorporated play axis. So if you will see, if I'll click, you'll see that it is hiding behind this visual. This play axis is there, but it is behind this visual. So this is how you can implement animated tooltip. So once again, if I'll go to my example, and if you see over here that this animation is working, like starting from 2016, then 2017, and then 2018, and then it's giving you a kind of full year story. Like, okay, after running that particular animation, it is giving you a kind of a summary, like, okay, this is actually the whole summary of that particular product. So this is one more example of tooltip. Like previously, I've just a flat tooltip in which I have arranged custom visuals, and in this I've arranged these visuals in custom format, a custom arrangement. And in this one, I have arranged it, but I have also incorporated the animation. In the third one, if you see in this example, I have incorporated forecast and sales trend both. Because in some cases you want to see the forecast. So the idea behind using tooltip is that you want to glue your viewer to the same report instead of making them go through, drill through, or viewing or going out of this particular page. You want to keep them on this page, and you want to tell all the story, every information which is available related to these on the same page. But one thing you would have noticed, like in this particular case, what I did, I have used custom size to incorporate a large content. So once again, you are not restricted, or you're not supposed to use only tooltip size. You can go and you can change that to custom size to incorporate additional information if you need. So in this case, what I did, like in this particular example, I have incorporated certain additional charts, and I have shown forecast as well. And with the help of forecast, you can identify like, okay, this is the normal trend of this particular product. In our case, we are talking about this van, and its trend is showing that the forecast is like this, like by 2022, what will be the sale of this particular vehicle. Last example over here in this one is also a kind of animated one, but once again, over here, if you'll see that in the title bar and other areas, I'm using uh, uh, you can see field values. So this title, like from 2016 to 2018, this is going to change based on the selection. So I have applied it over here based on the selection, so it will be showing different years as well. So it's more or less the same animation work. So now in this example, if you see over here, this is a separate example which I have created for this particular session. So what you can do with this, what you can see with this example, like I have applied certain legend colors on these particular visuals. But if I see with this first example, like if I go over here and I select the first example, I'm using generic colors. Like over here, it is showing me a kind of a normal tooltip in which it is showing me cars sale in different years. And it is also showing me the trend and forecast at the bottom. So although your name and other, you can say, values and graph is behaving properly, and whenever you change the selection, it is actually updating that particular selection on the tooltip. But in this case, because you have only few uh, products, so it is very easy to relate. But in cases where you can see that there are 15 or 20 products, and there are different colors associated with different product, in that case, identifying like where you are on which product your mouse is right now, it is very difficult to identify. So in that case, what is suggested, like you incorporate the similar colors to your tooltip. Now over here in this next example, if you'll see that what I did, I have incorporated the same color which are related to this particular product. So if you see on top, the car name is coming in with the blue background. The van is coming with the dark blue, and then orange and purple and pink. So all these colors are actually changing with the selection. So this will help you, like if you are on top of certain product, and there are so many products in that particular visual, so it will help you identify like on which product you are right now, because these colors are behaving properly. Secondly, the color of ears which are on the right side of the report, like these visuals, the colors which are appearing over here, these are actually these colors are also incorporated in these visual. Like the ear colors are exactly the same which are appearing on the right side. So you can identify like these colors are telling the same story. Like if the car distribution you're talking about, in this visual it is showing in the bar chart, other one is a stacked bar chart. So you can relate it quite easily. So comparing this case with this one, like over here, although in normal cases this may work as well, but in complex scenario, when you are talking about so many products, and it is very difficult to identify where your mouse is. So in that case, using this practice and incorporating these colors is possible. Now the problem with this particular visual is like in this case I'm using for example, I'll show you. This is the simple tooltip. And over here, I'm just using the card visual over here. And in the card visual, I'm using uh, uh, that particular field of the product over here. But I cannot incorporate any colors over here. Like if I go to it and then I want to implement a custom color, then I have to implement field value. Like I have to incorporate a custom measure. I have to create a custom measure, and then it may work well. And suppose if I'm changing the colors and things like that more frequently, so every time I have to go and correct my uh, you can say field values over there or measures. But what I did with this example, like over here, instead of using card, I've used the tree map. So in this case, if you can see that I have used tree map, and tree map is actually doing the same work. Like I have put the product over here, and I have just for the sake of values, I have put the count product, but I have hidden these values over here. I'm not showing the data labels over here. I'm only showing the category names only. So this behaves like a title. So over here, if I'll go in my example, and if I come over here, so this is actually the tree map, which is showing the name of the car, but actually it is working like a title. So you can increase that font size and other stuff you can apply on it. But now, instead of having a card visual and then applying a custom field on top of it to implement the background colors to relate it with this particular product, you can simply use tree map as a visual, as a card visual in place of card, and put it on the title side, and then you can implement the same over there. So this is the easiest way of creating a tooltip in these kind of scenarios. Now, in another example over here, in this the example is a bit different because I'm using car over here, but I'm using different, you can say, years. Uh, but if once again, in the first example, I'm using it in a simple manner. Once again, in these scenarios, because right now we are having only 3 years, but imagine if you have 5 or 10 years, once again identifying like where you are right now and how this is working. It is something which is sometime not possible to manage. Just correct this one. I will correct it too. Now, what will happen, like over here, once again, I'll go to my example. The problem with this, like I cannot identify on which year I am. But in this case, if I'm coming over here, I can see that the color of the year is also related to this one. So in fact, it is more or less showing the same example which I've used over here. But in this case, I have incorporated the year's color in the tree map. And secondly, once you move to the next row, because you are on car right now and it is aligned with the car's color. But in the second row, once you'll move, it's going to change its color to van. So once again, the relationship of colors is followed in this tooltip as well. Now, because you are carrying your viewer from beginning to end in the same report, so they are aligned with these colors. So they are relating themselves to those colors, like, okay, van is always in this color, car is always in this color. So based on this, now I have applied two different scenarios. Like I've applied tree map twice in this case, one for year and one for car. So over here, year is showing in different color and car is showing with the same color. So this relationship is built properly. And based on this, your user can experience like how this is uh, like how what this data is actually telling. So the beauty is that like whenever you are sending these report to someone, you don't have to go and stand with your report and explain it. You always want your user to view those reports, and you want them to understand it without help of any person. So applying these branding on your tooltip will help you, like how you can help your viewers to relate these figures. And once again, when you are dealing with complex data, because in this example I've used very simple data, but in usual cases you are not lucky enough to have these kind of simple data. You have so many you can see scenarios where you are dealing with a very congested stack charts, and values are very close to each other, and once you are moving more, like in this case for example, the space is very limited. So once you are keeping your mouse over here, it is very difficult to manage like where you are. But in this scenario which I'm using, like you are 100% sure that where your mouse is, because this color is giving you a kind of a guarantee like where you are and what value you are looking at. Just share again, like over here, if this example, if you can see that over here in this product table, I have used unique characters. So if y'all see in this particular, so this is the icon number and this is the product name, and I have converted it into actual icon with this custom column, like calculated column, and I've used unique character, and I've simply incorporated that icon with unique character. So I'm not using any image in it. There is a large pool of unique characters over there, so we can use that particular. So this is how we can incorporate like icons in your visual as well. So in your reports, sometimes you have to use these things in combination, like you are using out of the box tooltips, or you have to customize your tooltips as well. And then based on that, you can tell a good story to your viewers. So just for your information, I'm just showing you few examples which I have made, and if you are following my um, YouTube channel or my uh, blog, so you will find these examples over here. I'll just share uh, my screen as well. Now, in this, you will find a sample work link over here. So in which I have created a few samples over here. And in this, few examples are interesting for you. So you can go and check, like over here, I have one example, which is the HR staff performance one. So just to explain a use case, like where you can apply this. This is a dummy report based on dummy data. So I'm just showing you like how you can implement this. Like, okay, over here there are different staff members. So over here I have incorporated, so it's not necessary that you are only restricted to cards. You can include image as well, and you can incorporate those images and charts together on tooltip to show some details, like what this data is telling you. So if somebody is interested in getting more detail about this person, so this they can simply go and check on top of it, and that will show those reports in this manner. So this is one use case. Another use case, like I have incorporated like the shopping mall footfall in this example as well. I have incorporated these examples, and there are different kind of Tooltips I have used. Once again, in this, I have incorporated unique characters as well. So this is the card visual, and in the card visual as well, you can apply tooltip. So once again, this is animated tooltip, and you can see this animation is happening. But whenever you are using card visual, you have to make sure that your mouse is on the figure. It's if your mouse is not on top of these numbers, this will not work. So you can say that there is a limitation with tooltip when you are using it with card visual. Otherwise, it will work, but you have to tell your report viewer to keep your mouse on top of numbers to see the results. So this is how it will work. In the same manner over here on the graph as well, on different points, I have implemented this, you can see, animation. And these animations are working over here, and these are visible like this. So just I have shared a few examples, and just for those who are not very much familiar with uh, Power BI, for them basically uh, what I can tell them that you have to explore it a little. One thing which you can see over here, I'll just check, like, can you hear me? Can you hear? Can you see my Power BI screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now, yes, just to share with those who are not very much familiar with Power BI, like whenever you are running these reports, you have to hide your tooltips, because over here, whichever tooltips I have used, I have right clicked and I have hide those tooltips. Now, hide means whenever you are running a report in your browser, or once these reports are published, people cannot navigate on these reports. Uh, so this is the best way or best practice to use tooltips, because if you left these tooltips open and they're not hidden, so people can go, and when they change pages, they can go and they can view those particular tooltips. So it's not advisable. And definitely those tooltips will not work perfectly, because they are made to work with your report. They cannot work independently, and this will create a wrong impression. So whenever you are using your tooltips, you should be 100% sure, like for which reason you are using those tooltips, and uh, which areas you have to implement, and what kind of options you have to implement. Like just to sum up, like what we explored today, like we can use out of the box tooltips as well. Within out of the box tooltips, you can add some additional fields in tooltip to show some additional information in the tooltip, as well as you can do some basic branding on those tooltips. But once you are moving from out of the box tooltips to custom tooltips, so there is no limit in that case. You can use your imagination, and you can use your skills, and you can uh, show whatever you want in whichever way you want. But once again, because this is tooltip, it is related to that particular selected chunk of information which you are showing. So try to be concise, like because the tooltips attention span is always limited, so don't put too many things inside it. Because as I said, that although Power BI is not restricting you to limit the size of the tooltip, even the whole page can be your tooltip, but that's not practical. Stick to the default size. And then if you want to show some additional information, you have liberty to increase its size. But once again, you have to be careful. What I suggest, don't disturb the width of the tooltip. You can extend the height of the tooltip, so it will remain. Otherwise, what will happen, like within your report, it may not appear completely. It may hide behind the scroll bar, or report in your report is not visible, or that particular visual is not shown completely. So this is the best practice. Like, you can increase the height, you should increase the height in some cases to show some additional information, but it's better not to increase its width. So this is something which I wanted to share now, because this is not just a training session. We want to share our experience. So anyone who want to share their experience in terms of their practices, or if they want to add anything, so you are free to add. Anyone? Or you want any question from me, I can answer those questions as well.
Aamir?
Yes.
The sample work that just shared before, is it accessible to everyone? So can we download the files?
I'll try to upload it on my blog. So whatever, but my usual practice is, like, whenever I do these sessions, I upload this to my blog, which is EZPowerBI.com. So probably in a day or two, I'm going to upload it, and in my YouTube channel, I'm going to add this video as well. So those who missed it for some reason, or they joined late, so they can simply go and just walk through it again. So that will help them a lot in their practices in future whenever they want to refer it.
I mean in the sample work that they have report, do you have some sample where we can download some PBIX and just open them and learn from them?
Actually, there are plenty of examples already available, and if you want a PBIX file, so in some cases, sharing PBIX might not be possible, because I'm working for Treehouse, and some of the examples are made for their customer POCs, like proof of concepts. So I can show them as examples, but I cannot share PBIX. But this PBIX file, which I'm showing to you right now, this can be shared with you, the one which is in this particular session. So not all content can be shared, but I'm uploading certain shareable contents on my blog, so you can go and you can use those, and you can enhance those. You can see that will help you in adding value to your reports. I have a few questions. Let me just go through the questions over here. Yes, some are saying that they have some restriction within their organization, like they don't want to implement Power BI or something. Definitely there are positive as well. Like, I'm not advocating like you should convince them regarding, but Power BI definitely, it's growing a lot, and there are a lot many features which are coming. And the important part is what I always advocate, like the turnover time, like the time you're spending on creating reports and adding value to your report is something which is phenomenal. And you are actually paying extra in another cases, like when you are working on difficult products or difficult solutions. You are spending hours for a thing which is possible in minutes in Power BI. So there are ways to explain to your management wherever you are willing to implement Power BI. So there are ways to convince your management. So anyone who want to share any question, they can write in the chat box as well. Okay, then I'm now closing my session. Thank you for attending this session, and I hope you have learned, and you can now implement these examples in your workspace. And definitely I'll be in touch, and you can follow me on LinkedIn as well. You can follow my blog, EZPower BI. And even if you have some queries, you can ping me on message box on LinkedIn as well. And if I'm available and if I have time, I'll try to share things with you. Okay, all of you, thank you very much.